Well, friends, now that Judge Merchan has canceled the November 26th sentencing date in Donald Trump's criminal case in New York, the only real question left is, will Donald Trump ever be sentenced on his 34 felony guilty verdicts? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, we saw this one coming a mile away, didn't we? Headline: Trump's hush money sentencing has now officially been postponed. And that article begins, President-elect Donald Trump's sentencing in his New York criminal case will not move forward next week, a Manhattan judge ruled Friday. The sentencing in the former and future president's hush money case had been on the calendar for Tuesday. Shocking, friends, isn't it? That accountability for Donald Trump for the crimes he committed, the crimes a jury found him guilty of, accountability is nowhere to be found. Let's have a look at the very short court order Judge Merchan just issued. On November 19, 2024, this court received separate submissions from defendant Trump and the District Attorney of New York County seeking various forms of relief in connection with the above-captioned matter. The respective applications are decided as follows. It is hereby ordered that defendant Trump's request for leave to file a motion to dismiss is granted. And it is further ordered that the joint request for a motion schedule is granted. Defendant Trump's motion is due by the close of business Monday, December 2, 2024. The people's, the prosecutor's, response is due by the close of business on Monday, December 9, 2024. The court will not accept reply briefs, and it is further ordered that the joint application for a stay, a pause, of sentencing is granted to the extent that the November 26, 2024 date is adjourned. In other words, canceled. Okay, friends, let's translate that from legalese into English. Most importantly, and most unfortunately, Donald Trump's November 26 sentencing date is canceled. And Judge Merchan gave Trump's attorneys until December 2nd to file their motion to dismiss based on Donald Trump being elected. Can you imagine any other defendant saying, hey, Judge, I got a new job coming up, got a big promotion, so I'm going to need to have you just go ahead and cancel my sentencing date. And you know what? While you're at it, just go ahead and dismiss my 34 felony guilty verdicts. That's what Donald Trump is asking Judge Merchan to do. You know, it's basically asking the judge to disrespect, insult, and screw over the victims of Donald Trump's crimes. In this case, the people of New York. And Judge Merchan gave the prosecutors until December 9th to file their reply, presumably their opposition to Donald Trump's motion to dismiss. So what now? Well, basically, Judge Merchan has three options. There are some variations on those three options, but primarily he has three options. Option one, he can just dismiss the case, throw out the 34 guilty verdicts such that Donald Trump will never be sentenced. The problem with that option is there is no law, there is no precedent, meaning no appellate court decision from the Supreme Court or any other court of appeals, and there is no constitutional provision supporting an outright dismissal. Option 2, try to delay the entire case, the sentencing, until after Donald Trump leaves office and sentence him thereafter. That would actually be lawful. Indeed, it wouldn't even be unprecedented or all that unusual. Let me tell you a quick true story to highlight the point of how there can be a very long delay between the time a jury returns guilty verdicts or a defendant pleads guilty and the ultimate sentencing date for those convictions, those guilty verdicts or that guilty plea. We had an enormous RICO case in Washington, D.C. some years ago, some decades ago now. I'm getting old. And it was the largest RICO case ever brought in the courts of the District of Columbia. It involved a criminal organization that had killed 31 people over the course of about 10 or 12 years. We indicted so many defendants that we had to break it up into 3 separate RICO trials. Some friends and colleagues of mine tried the first case, trial 1. I then tried the second case, trial 2, with some colleagues, and I tried the third case, trial 3, with some other colleagues. Now, we had a cooperating witness who was an extraordinarily important cooperating witness. He was an insider to the RICO crew. He ended up cooperating and laying out years and years and years of crimes that had been committed by the criminal organization, by various members of this criminal gang. And he pleaded guilty to the crimes he committed, and then he testified in trial after trial after trial. And from the time he pleaded guilty until the time he was ultimately sentenced, after all of his cooperation was complete, because it's only after all of his cooperation is complete that his judge, the judge before whom he pleaded guilty and the judge who would sentence him, his judge would have a full appreciation of all of the cooperation and the assistance he rendered trying to, help hold others accountable for their crimes, including violent crimes, drug crimes, gun crimes in the District of Columbia. And it was several years between the time he pleaded guilty and testified in all of those intervening trials, and then finally he got sentenced. That is why I say it's not only lawful, but it's not that unusual for there to be years in big cases between the time somebody pleads guilty or is found guilty by a jury and the time that person is ultimately sentenced. So option number 2, clearly a lawful option, delay Donald Trump's sentencing until after he leaves office. He will then be free and available once again to be sentenced on his 34 felony guilty verdicts. And he committed these crimes, we call them hush money crimes, we call them falsifying business records crimes. He committed these crimes to try to cheat in and steal the 2016 presidential election. Pretty important, pretty consequential that he be held accountable and punished for those crimes. Option 3, deny his motion to dismiss and promptly sentence him. Right after you deny the motion to dismiss. That could be done in December. Now, Donald Trump might be able to take an immediate appeal and put a stop to his sentencing, but we'll never know unless Judge Merchan tries. So option 3, deny his motion to dismiss and proceed to sentencing. Now, I don't expect, but we can certainly hope, that Judge Merchan views option 3 as being in play. Immediate sentencing, immediate accountability for the crimes for which Donald Trump was found guilty by a jury of his peers 34 times over. Let's hope option 3 is in play. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.